Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Witty Writing Show. Do you know what? You could be watching from anywhere right now because I've been sharing all over the place. It's great. But welcome. It's a beautiful Thursday afternoon, and I'm here with the amazing, I can't say that enough, amazing Glen Dahlgren. Hello, Glen.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's always a
Oh,
fun time.
oh my God, I've been super excited because you're just about to release your second book. Da, da, da. And it's gorgeous, Glen.
I have to show it. I actually
You
just got
do.
the proof in yesterday, and so that's
Oh,
what it looks like. It's
that is,
Game of War.
it is stunning.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my,
really happy with how it came out.
I'm so excited because I've been following you since we became friends, and obviously we did our last interview. And oh my God, your reviews for book one are amazing, and that's the Child of Chaos.
Yeah,
And
here's Anthony.
Piers Anthony. That's
Yeah,
first is
that's the
more.
Child of Chaos. That's I'll
Piers
show everything. But
but
yeah, you're talking about the cover quote. This is what fantasy fiction should be from Piers Anthony. I almost dropped over when I got that review from him, and it was a review full of quotes like that. I don't know why, but he really connected with the material. He really loved it, and that was sort of the launch of my writing career at that point.
do you know what? I'm not surprised that he connected with it so well. And for him to say something so profound as this is what fantasy should be like. I mean, what a compliment.
I
That is
couldn't believe it.
something.
Yeah, you could have knocked me over with a feather when I read that. I almost hyperventilated. It was amazing.
Do you know what? That must have given you so much incentive to then just go full on into book two. Because I mean, you can't get better motivation than that, can you? I mean,
It,
that's awesome.
well, I mean, I got it even before book one released, so it actually gave me incentive to keep moving forward because before you release anything, you never know. You know,
No.
it's just you and maybe some beta readers, and and you're hoping for the best. You've connected with a few people, but you have no idea if it's going to connect with more and more and more people, which is what you need to do. And that gave me enough confidence that I was able to move forward. Actually, he just recently got the hardback. I sent him a hardback, and he said it was beautiful. It's on his shelf now. That was really gratifying to know it's on Piers Anthony's shelf.
In pride of place. I think that's lovely. I mean, wow, that's such a compliment. We've got people jumping on. Hello, everybody. Please say hello. Heather's already, she was straight in there. My friend Heather Skinner, who runs a book club, she was straight in there. Look, she says, hi, Beth and Glenn. Hello,
Hello.
darling. Hello. And kisses to Gemma as always. If anybody's got any questions, please let us know. Just put them in the comments. That'd be fantastic. And then I can pop them on the screen. But it's been an amazing journey for you. I mean, oh my gosh, not only are you just about to release the Game of War, but you actually created your own audiobook as well for the Child of Chaos. That's a big feat in itself, Glenn.
Well, I was really it was a huge challenge to make that. And I learned a lot, and it took a fair amount of time because I had nothing. I had no hardware, I had no experience, I had no nothing. And so when I got to the end of that, I had learned so much that I was able to make the audiobook for the Game of War for release, and it is available today.
Wow.
So it actually came out before the release. I was really happy with Audible that they pulled the trigger on it, and so it's out now.
That
And
is
and
amazing.
people seem to like it so far. I don't have any reviews, so anybody who would like to, please listen and review. But I have a lot of fun with it. I did a lot of voice direction and acting back in my computer game days, and so I got a bunch of auditions. People sent me their versions of the script that I sent out, and I was like, I could do this. I think I will actually kick myself if I don't do this, because I know when I'm voice directing, nobody knows the material better than the author. Nobody
Yeah,
knows the intention behind the characters and why they're saying what they're saying. And so I knew I had to do it. And again, reaction has been really good. People seem to like the performance, so I'm going to keep doing it.
I think it's fantastic. I love the fact that you were sharing your audiobook journey as well, because I saw photographs of you and you're making up little studio. I thought that was brilliant, Glenn. I really did. Because do you know what? There are so many authors out there, you know, like myself, who just don't have the funds to pay out all that money to get everything done for us. So seeing you being successful doing your own audiobook was so motivational and inspiring. It really was fantastic.
I think that's exactly why I posted that stuff, because I think I recorded my my book for under $200. And it's because I was lucky. I had some of the hardware. I didn't even know that I had some. I had to look back in storage and dig everything out. But I had a Mac. I had a walk-in closet, which I was really lucky. And I didn't even know people did that until I read an article somewhere where they mentioned, hey, closets are great for voice recording, because the clothes just absorb all the sound. And so, yeah, my family would just wonder where I disappeared to for hours at a time. But I was in the closet. Actually, just recently, my daughter walked into the walk-in closet, saw my setup, was like, what the heck? Because she never goes in there. She didn't realize what it looked like.
That is hilarious. I'm gonna have to try and talk you into maybe doing some segments about recording in your audiobook journey, maybe for the Write Better, Author Smarter group, because it would be really, really awesome for you to be able to give some, you know, just some tips and advice that you've discovered during that journey. You know, that would be absolutely awesome. But you do exactly.
I gotta say, I am not an audio engineer. I know just enough to get through to the other end, but it's like the recipe you need to use in order to get your raw audio edited. Editing is probably 90% of the effort, honestly. Yeah. And then take that and then manipulate it such that ACX will accept it. There's a lot of steps in there, and it kind of hocus pocus, you know, trying to figure out, okay, what won't make the thing trip? What will make the automatic filters trip and say, no, your median volume is too low or something like that. Yeah. So, you know, I managed to get it all without, and with a lot less effort than I did the first time. I did more automation this time. And so I'm learning every time I do a project.
That's amazing. I think that's the main thing, isn't it? And I keep saying that to the authors that I work with, something new always seems daunting the first time, but the more you do it, the less daunting it is. 9 times out of 10, it's the fear of the unknown, isn't it? And then when
absolutely. When I had authors telling me not to do it. They were saying, you know, focus your energy on writing, you know, get more books out there, and, you know, don't worry about this monumental task that you're worried about trying to get, because who knows how long it's going to take. But I knew I would kick myself if I didn't, because it's just too much fun. I mean, I'm too much of a ham. I really want to get in there and voice those characters, and why should I let someone else have the fun?
Yeah, I agree. I've got so much admiration for you. Honestly, it's amazing. I've got to ask you though, Glenn, did you, when you was reading your audiobooks, did you read them as you was telling somebody a story, or were you doing the character voices as well?
So I did both, obviously, as my narrator voice is very different from my character voices. Right. And I have a lot of character. I had way more character voices in me than I knew that I had. I'd be like, okay, what does this guy sound like? Because he's got to sound different from everybody else. And I have to admit, I even threw in a few accents in there. That's not my proudest moment, but I hope that people will accept them. I figure if the acting is good enough, yeah, and the voice is different enough from everyone else who's speaking, then people will forgive me if my accent isn't great.
Yeah, I honestly, I think you're amazing. I've got the memory of a goldfish, I've got to tell you. Some things will stick in my brain, other things in, out. And I don't know whether I would be able to remember all the different voices of my characters if I tried to do it myself, because my memory's that bad. I swear to you, Glenn, I don't know whether it's just because I've had 4 children, or whether it's because of the menopause or whatever. But I can literally go from one room to the next and think, what the hell am I in here for?
Well, I've got a couple of sort of archetypes of voices in my head, and I put certain characters into those archetypes, and I know exactly how to slip into those archetypes. Like, yeah. I've got even a keyword for each archetype that I say before I say the line. And I'll tell you, the key to actually having a good read on a line is doing it twice. I read almost every line twice, and I always take the second take. Because the first time you're doing it, and you're like, okay, I knew the line, but now I really know it because I read it. Now I'm reading it again as I really should have. And so
that's a very good tip. That's a very good tip. And also having the sample voices. I know there's quite a few actors that actually do that. They have recordings of the sample voice. So you know, they will have a collection of sample voices for their characters, so they can just listen to it, repeat it, and it's basically how you do it.
Well, we did that actually when we were doing computer games. We had people come in and record things that they would listen to in order to trigger their voice and trigger their memories about what those voices were. For me, it wasn't quite necessary because I was doing so much in one time, I wouldn't forget. But I did have key phrases that would just put my brain in that mode. Yeah. Like I have a guy, I don't know if you'd actually in your brain think of him as a surfer dude. But that's kind of how his voice is. So before he said anything, he'd always go, dude. And that would just put me in the right frame to start saying his lines.
Oh, my God.
And in this latest one, I have one who's absolutely a pirate. And I always go, arr, right before I start talking.
I have so got to buy both of these audiobooks. They sound fantastic. Honestly, I'm so excited. I really am. We've got more people joining us. We've got James. James says greetings on and all. Hello, James.
Hi, James.
Actually, James, you're a winner because your name was picked out in the draw for last week's Witty Writers Show. So you've won a signed copy of Stephen Manchester's book. So congratulations. There we go. You'll have to message me with your address so I can pass it on to Stephen. But congratulations, my darling. We've also got Sherry. Sherry says, have you ever had any surprises happen at a book signing? Oh, that's a good one.
So my biggest surprise is that my book signing didn't happen because of COVID. I had a launch party already at my local library, which was a beautiful, the library in Walnut Creek, which has like a coffee shop and 2 levels. And it was wonderful. I was actually thinking about having a band there for my launch party, but everything closed down because of COVID. So my first signing is actually going to be on September 11th at a store called the Book Depot, the Railroad Book Depot in Pittsburgh, California. And they're really nice people. I love them to death. One of the first people to pick up my book and put it on their shelves. And I'm really looking forward to being there. And actually, I'm going to be giving out my new swag, my my new double-sided bookmarks.
They are stunning. They are absolutely stunning. Honestly, I'm in love with your book covers, I have to say, because they're both absolutely beautiful. Can we just have a quick look at the Child of Chaos cover if you've got it at hand?
This one?
There we go. Look at that. They're both stunning. And
yeah, I've got to say, when I went to redesign them, I was kind of I wanted to make sure that I hit my audience better than I did before. And so I was thinking, okay, YA fantasy, how do I do that? Let's focus on an object, let's make it simple. And then I said, okay, let's focus on the dice and maybe let's do some, crazy stuff around it, some kind of border. And I was trying to fit in with, a lot of those other books that kind of do the same thing. And then, I said, the dice look like crates. They look huge. So I need something in there to establish scale. And so I said, let's put the hand under there and see what that looks like. And let's put some magic on it. And then let's get rid of that border because it's not really helping at all. And we ended up with a simple image, but it's really compelling. It really draws you in. And what's weird is I was trying to be like every other YA cover that's out there. And then I end up like none of them. So, but I'm happy. I like being different. I just want to make sure it sells. So that's the number one. But I'm really actually happy to be different. And and because of that, because we established the hand with the object, that's why this one came out the way it did. The hand interacting with the shield. This is actually the activation plate of the testing at the Temple of Wars testing ceremony, and it's a real scene in the book, and it's really cool. It's one of my favorite scenes in the book.
They're both absolutely gorgeous, I have to say, and I'm really glad you went down that route. I really am, because I think a lot of authors forget that when people are looking through books, they're looking at a white screen and they're going to zoom in with their eyes on whatever's going to pop out the most. So you've got to, and I always say this to the authors that I work with, you've got to imagine somebody scrolling down Amazon or, Barnes and Noble or whatever, and they're looking at all these book images literally in a big row, and yours has got to go, ta-da, I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to stand out because, especially with the COVID and everything else, we don't know how long online shopping is going to be, the norm, because everybody's still doing so much of it. So you have to now market as if it's all online.
But even if it's not, even if you're on a shelf, you need to stand out. You need to be, you need to attract attention, because I'm on shelves and I want to make sure that if you pass by my cover, you see mine. Yeah. And you're like, well, that's interesting. What's going on there? Let me learn more about what's going on with that story.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Stephanie Meyers with her book, The Twilight Books, really emphasized the fact that sometimes less can be a lot more, because her books are very much like that, aren't they? The black backgrounds with the image just popping out from the cover page. It's amazing. And I'd never seen covers like hers that were just simple but powerful. And yours are very much like that. They're very powerful. And I love the font. Your title font. It is gorgeous. And the moment I saw that, Glenn, I could just imagine it on a t-shirt and a hat. And I'm like, straight away, I'm not thinking sales and marketing. The visual image on a t-shirt and merchandise was like,
I'm totally with you. Sooner or later, I'm gonna have to do all of that. And I've got book number 3 already designed in my head. I know exactly what it's supposed to look like.
Oh, it's so exciting. Oh my gosh, you're on such a journey, Glenn. You really, really are. We've got so many people that have popped on and giving comments. Let me have a look. Okay.
While you're looking, I just wanted to mention that the people who designed, who illustrated this cover, is Mibble Art. And they actually, I have thrown a ton of authors their direction, because once people see these covers, like, where can I get that too? And my experience with them, I won't go too long about them, has just been outstanding. They are really inexpensive. I mean, like, to the point where I'm like wondering, how they make their money. But they're really professional. They have unlimited changes. They let you keep the source, and they're really quick. They're very responsive, and so I'm overjoyed with my experience with working with them.
That's fantastic. Maybe if you don't mind, obviously we get a lot of authors joining in for the show. If you wouldn't mind, maybe you could put their link in the comments.
Sure. It's Mibble Art, MIBL art.com. And also, I'm a referrer. It doesn't really help me at this point, because I've referred so many people that I don't have any more discounts to use. But if you use my name, if you tell them that you heard about it from Glen Dahlgren, you will get 15% off, which is kind of incredible, given they're already, affordable prices. I sound like a commercial, but I mean, I've just been really, really happy with them.
But you know what? I think it's great for authors like ourselves to actually share good people to work with, because that's one of the battles, isn't it? Especially if you're self-published, is finding professional, reasonable people to work with who are just as driven as we are, and as professional as we are. I'm sure you're the same, Glenn. I've heard so many horror stories. One of the clients that I work with, she was paying over $300 for her book covers. And I was thinking, oh, no, we need to change this. And I literally managed to put her onto my designer. And she saved over $200, and she got a cover that she absolutely loved. So sharing that sort of information is invaluable.
Yeah. Because I was looking for new covers at one point, and I was finding people over $1,000 for, and I really wanted a nice cover. And so I was looking at these people, but there's no way I wanted to invest that kind of money into a cover. And I got to say, for everything that I got through them, I got my ebook, my paperback, my hardback, my audiobook, my those bookmarks, And one other thing, I think, all of those things for under $300.
That is amazing to get all of that. That is amazing. I mean, what a difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're in the Ukraine, and so I think that's why. That's one of the reasons they can keep their costs down. And I think they have young artists coming in, but they have enough quality control that, the end result is really amazing. And if it's not, you can tell them keep going until it is.
Exactly. And that's the difference, isn't it? You've got to make sure that you're happy with it, because otherwise you're never going to be happy with it. You might as well get it right the first time, exactly how you want it, because otherwise you're going to be always miserable about your book, and that's not good. It's supposed to be a happy experience. Oh my goodness. Right, let's have a look. We've got some more people popping up and saying hello. So, Sherry, this was supposed to have been earlier. She said hello to both.
Hello.
Josephine's joined us from Devon. Hello, darling. It's amazing. She's keeping her eyes open, I have to say. She's staying up very, very late. Joe says, I have a tough time losing my NYC accent when reading.
Yeah.
That's tough because some accents are super strong.
I'm really lucky in that I don't have much of an accent. I was born in Washington State, went to Pennsylvania, and in that, being raised in those places, I'm pretty vanilla way of speaking, which allows me to layer on stuff. So that helps. Yeah, if you have a really strong accent, it's tough to get rid of that.
Yeah, it is tough. It's funny because I used to do voiceovers for a company back in the UK, and I could do like a Russian type accent. I could do like a German. I was quite good at doing French, but you try and give me an American accent to do, I am useless. My husband can do so many. And when we was in New York, he literally sounded like a New Yorker. He was funny as hell. We'd be walking down the sidewalk, and he'd start going on, "Yeah, I'm walking here," and all this. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm useless. But he nails it. He can do the Scottish accent, the Irish accent. And I'm thinking, if I do an audiobook, I might have to hire my husband to do the voices.
I gotta say, that's the one thing that I really would have liked some help on is female characters.
Yeah,
I do them, but it's not my best characters' voices.
Yeah. Well, I'm on hand if you need female voices. I can do, as long as they're not a New Yorkers, I'll be good. James says, cool, okay. So he's pleased that he's a winner. Let's have a look. Sherry says, your cover looks great.
Well, thank you very much.
Exclamation mark. So she's very, very impressed. We've also got Terza. She says, hi, guys. Sorry I'm late. I love different. Me too, Terza. Me too. And don't worry. As long as you're here, that's all that matters. Joe says, do you self-publish?
I do. I think I told this story last time I was here, maybe. But I originally was with a small press. And this was right when COVID was starting. And because the market was changing, they decided to eliminate all print books. They were going to go entirely ebook.
Wow.
And I mean, I think they still were planning to do it, but it was really an afterthought. And I think the way I describe it is the point of doing this, especially your debut novel, is not to make a ton of money. You're not going to make a ton of money, not unless you get some big break. Your point is to actually make a book and hold your book and give your book to somebody and sign your book to somebody and hand it to somebody who really wants to read it. And so if that's all gone, then it just becomes about business, and that's not why people write. So that was kind of the deciding factor for me. And so I left. I had to learn a lot about self-publishing, but I did it. I'm still learning. Everybody is still learning. This business is very ever-changing. But I think I got a handle on it enough that I feel confident when I have a new release to put out there. And I'm really, really happy that I have control of it. I have control of the cover. I have control of the marketing. I have control of the message. I have control of the rights. I mean, I'm a game designer. One of these days, especially with Game of War, I want to play that thing as a computer game. And at that point, I will have the rights, and I will be able to get in there and help design it.
That's just fantastic. Do you know there's so many benefits of being a self-published author, and I say that because obviously, you know, I'm a self-published author myself, and you're right, you never stop learning. Every week you're learning something new from somebody else or an article or whatever. And I'm like you, I'm very driven, and I try to keep up with the market and the changes and everything else. I'm very surprised that your original small press was walking away so much from physical books, because for a lot of readers, that's part of the experience. Is they want to smell the book, hold the book, they want to connect with the, you know, the author, they want to go and meet the author and do book signings and go to conventions. And for a lot of readers, that's the whole point of the book world. So I'm blown away by that. I don't think that was a very smart move on their part. However, because I've heard so many horror stories, and you know, a couple of my clients are currently trying to get themselves out of contracts with small presses, I have to say I would rather self-publish any day over going with a small press.
Yeah, there's a lot of authors that feel that being published is their end goal. And so it almost doesn't matter. The business aspects of it don't matter. The rights aspect of it don't matter. The fact that someone has published their book is kind of what's most important for them.
Yeah.
And especially people who are just not interested, you know, in the whole self-publishing arena and what it takes to self-publish, because it's a different mental activity than writing. It's completely different. It's a whole, you need another side of your brain for that sort of thing. So I totally get it. I just don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to small publishers. Obviously, traditional publishing, if you manage to land an agent, you manage to get to a, you know, one of the big five, that is a completely different road and has a lot of its own benefits. But for sort of the world of small press, you know, it is for some people and it's just not for others. And for me, it's just not. I have too much of the entrepreneur in me that I want to, you know, have my destiny in my hands.
I agree, and one of the biggest things that I see regularly is a lot of these small presses price the books of their authors so high, and that just blows my mind. And I'm sure they do it to cover their inflated costs of, you know, stuff. But the books don't sell, because who's going to buy a book that's $3 more than a bestseller?
I don't want to make any assumptions about the reasons that some of these companies are doing this, but I suspect that some small presses are acting as vanity presses in that case, because what they're doing is they're pricing their print versions at a really inflated rate in order to sell to the author, because those are the people who really, really want those books.
Yeah, but it's ebooks as well. Ebooks.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. That's crazy. Why would you do that?
I had one author reach out to me and he said, I don't know what's going on. My books aren't selling. I'm with this press, you know, small press, blah, blah, blah. And I went straight onto Amazon and I'm Googling and researching all this. And they literally had the ebook priced up $2 more than the paperback. I said, well, this is why you're not selling.
Cost of goods doesn't make any sense there. No, I don't know. Maybe they've looked at traditional publishing prices and they've decided, you know, that's the thing they want to chase because they want to feel important. I don't know.
Oh, it was bizarre.
That's crazy.
Absolutely bizarre. Anyway, Sherry says, love your book covers. She
thank you.
Loves them.
Thank you very much.
Sherry says, book covers are definitely what get my attention. To take a look at the book. Absolutely. Oh, and she says, you guys are fun to listen to. Oh, thank you, darling. I appreciate that. Joe says, voice goes up at the end for female characters. That's interesting. That is
for some female characters.
Yeah, I have noticed the Australian accent. They tend to. I've got my friend Leanna, who runs Slam Dunked Luscious Reads. I'll get there in a minute. And when I'm talking to her, I notice that she goes up as she's talking.
Well, the Valley Girl accent goes up because everything's a question. That's what I know about that.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing. Do you know what amazes me? I mean, obviously, America is so huge. I can totally understand why there are so many different accents. I can totally understand that. However, you can fit England inside of Alabama. It's that small. I mean, it's the tiniest country ever. And yet we've probably got just as many, if not more, accents than America.
Wow.
Honestly, you listen to somebody from, I mean, for example, when I was born and brought up in Plymouth in Devon, I sounded like a country bumpkin. All right, my dear, how you doing, my lover? And that's how I was brought up. And then when I moved to Manchester, it was totally different. Hiya, see ya. I'm like, this sounds like a foreign language to me. What on earth is everyone saying? You know, but it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And the only thing I think that's created that is the fact that obviously back in the olden days, as my kids would say, when I was young, they would normally add, you know, obviously people didn't travel much.
Right.
Because it was all like horses and horse and carts and stuff like that. So it blows my mind, all the different accents. It really does.
And that's very true of America. I mean, there are people, especially in the South, that never leave their home state.
No, that was shocking for me when I first moved to South Carolina, because we spent 5 years there, and the deep South accents, I could not understand a word of, because not only were they strong, but they were so fast. All I would hear was, and I felt weird having to ask them to repeat it because they were talking so fast.
My wife has trouble with deep South accents as well. She comes from Italy, and she's got a very unique accent. I mean, she got a lot of instruction in England, so people don't really kind of get her accent. They always have to ask her where she's from. She has to explain that she was born and bred in Italy.
Wow, I bet she's got a beautiful accent. I love the French accent. I could literally listen to somebody who's French all day and just be like, this is lovely. I absolutely love it. I really, really do. Let's have a look. Okay. James says, is it MIBL, as in the company who did your covers?
Yep.
He says, I can't find a company I like for covers. Most are so hard to communicate with. There we go. We will share the link for you, James, so you can have a look later on. And I'll also add the link for My Lady as well. So you'll have two decent people to choose from. Joe says Troy Bookmakers. Oh, okay. So is that a good company or a bad one, Joe?
I'm assuming it's a recommendation.
Are you warning us or saying come up?
Troy is his slang for stay away.
Terza says, oh my God, yes. When I first came over to the UK, I didn't understand anyone. And I was asking people to write things down. That is hilarious. Terza, you'll have to let us know which part of the UK you were. Because if you was up in like Newcastle or somewhere like that, then I can totally understand. Or
which part, when she came over to the UK. Oh, gotcha.
Yes, she'll have to let us know whereabouts she went. That is so funny. James says, you have a Cockney, Liverpool, and then the Queen. Exactly. The Cockney accent, Liverpudlian accent is so strong. And then obviously the Queen is proper English.
Right. Well, then you have Welsh, right?
Oh, yeah. The Welsh is in a league of its own.
Exactly.
I mean, they've still got their own language.
Right.
And I think actually in recent years, they started reintroducing the Welsh language to their school curriculum to preserve it, which I think is brilliant. And I think most people have seen that really long road sign of one of the towns, and it's like glach, 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 and it's like that. I don't know how you say it. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. But Terza says, I love Spanish accent and Spanish language. Wish I could speak it too, LOL. I did try for a while because my daughter married a really fabulous Mexican man, and all his family just speak Spanish. And I thought, if my daughter's marrying him, I better try and learn. Well, we don't get to see each other very often. So by the time I see them, I can't remember what I have to say. Didn't work out too good. It didn't go. Never mind. Joe said, "Oh, okay. So Troy Bookmakers is very good." So that's an endorsement. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate that. We really, really do. Terza says she was in Andover in Hampshire. Oh my gosh, well, definitely don't go to Liverpool then, because if you were struggling with a Hampshire accent, you will definitely struggle anywhere else, bless her. Oh, and then she went East End as well, which is very Cockney. East End in London, very, very Cockney. That is amazing. Now, I have to say, Glenn, not only are you launching this fabulous new book, The Game of War, but you've also got some other offers and stuff going on, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. This is going to be a big week. Not only because I'm taking my daughter to college for the first time, actually on my launch day. It wasn't supposed to be that way, but it ended up being that way. So I'm going to be on the road when my book launches. So it's going to be an exciting day anyway. Wow. But I'm doing sort of a big celebration for the launch of the book. And one of the biggest things is, so this book, The Child of Chaos, will be free for 5 days, starting the launch date, 8/29 of the Game of War. I've never done free, and I actually wasn't intending to do free, but there was a problem with my re-up with KU, and I was trying to do a sale, but I couldn't. So they said, well, one thing you could do is free. So I said, all right, fine, that's what I'm doing. So I'm making it free for 5 days. Anyone who wants to read Child of Chaos should jump on this, because I won't be doing this very often. No, so go to Amazon, get Child of Chaos during those 5 days.
And that's ebook only. I'm just going to stress that is ebook only.
That's ebook only. Yes. However, if you do want either a paperback or a signed paperback or a signed hardback, I am giving a deal just to listeners of the Witty Writers show. You can go to my web store and use Witty Writers, the coupon code Witty Writers, all caps, all one word, to get 15% off anything in the store, and that includes the new book, The Game of War. So soft copy or hard copy signed. And tell me if you want a nice message, and I'd be happy to. And of course, get one of these too.
That is amazing. That is so cool, Glenn. You are the best ever. Because don't forget, we got Halloween coming up, and then before we know it, it's going to be Thanksgiving and Christmas. So now would be if you've got teenagers, anybody, if you've got teenagers, male or female, because of everyone loves Glenn's books. It's not just teenage boys, it's everybody loves Glenn's books.
And actually a lot of adults. Most of the people reading them are adults. It's intended for YA, but it's lots. It's a really broad audience. People who like fantasy like these books.
It's because good, Glenn. They are honestly, they are such good books. And I can't recommend them enough. And honestly, if anybody's got any teenagers that they normally buy for, grab signed copies of Glenn's books via his website, because they will make fantastic gifts for birthdays, Christmas, anything. Honestly, they are beautiful books and amazing stories, so you want to grab them. I love seeing anybody read, especially teenagers, because it gets them doing something else and involving their brain for a little while.
You can find a link to my store at mysterium.blog. The actual web store is mysteriummerchandise.bigcartel.com, but mysterium.blog is easier to remember.
Yeah, and I think I might have added that link to the video.
Good.
Hopefully. I will check afterwards.
And I've also got some more deals. These are the last few days before launch. If you want to pre-order the ebook for Game of War, it's discounted right now on Amazon. So that price is going to go away on launch. So jump in there and get it while you can. If none of this sounds good to you, but you still want a Game of War paperback, I'm doing a giveaway on Goodreads right now, and that also will resolve on launch day on 8/29. So jump into that. Go to Goodreads. You'll find I've got 5 copies of the paperback to give away, and so that there's always that possibility too. You get it there. And then I would just say for those who want the ebook or the audiobook, grab it.
Yeah.
I don't have a deal for that right now. I can't really do a deal for through Audible, but if you do have an Audible account, I would suggest it. People do seem to like the performance. There was even like one or two people who weren't too excited about the story, but they gave a 5 for performance. So they liked my performance, but everybody else liked the story. So lots of people do.
That sounds like a win-win to me. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. And it just goes to show how professionally you've done it as well. That is absolutely amazing. I'm just super excited for you. I really, really am. And I can't wait until I can say to my daughter, "Here, Abby, do you want to play Game of War?" She's an absolute gamer, honestly.
When I was writing it, I so wanted to play it. I mean, I was writing all the rules and everything, and it's like this would be perfect. I just really wanted to get in there and play it, and that honestly is a lot of people come back and say it's their favorite part of the book, because there's a lot of really interesting twists and things to figure out, and it's a lot of fun.
I think it's brilliant. I really maybe you should do like a game trailer to help promote your book.
A game trailer? You mean a game-like trailer?
Yes. Yeah, because that would be really, really cool advertising for your books.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
And if the right person sees it, they might go, "Oh, this looks like it could be a really good game." And then when they Google you, they'll discover that you actually did that for a living.
Actually, something that is interesting is, so one of the games I made was based on Wheel of Time, which was the based on the Robert Jordan books,
Yes.
Wheel of Time. And that is being turned into a TV series. And that's out this November.
Wow.
And it's getting a lot of attention right now, because it looks like it's going to be really good. And it's sort of potentially the next big fantasy thing on TV.
Wow.
And so I've been on the Dusty Wheel Show, which is a podcast which is all about Wheel of Time. I'm being asked to come back again, but they are putting a lot of focus on that game right now, and so it's interesting to see what might happen there. But those people, the producers, the executive producers of the TV show, are interested in chatting. So you never know what might happen there.
Oh my gosh! Do you know what?
Nice.
It would be brilliant. And the thing is, you're one of those type of authors, Glenn, who doesn't just wait for good thing to happen. You actually create opportunity for good things to happen. And I love that, because I'm very much the same. I don't sit and wait for luck to, find me. I actually push forward and constantly do steps to try and help things, transpire and everything. But that's the way you've got to be, isn't it, in this business? Yeah. You have to connect with the right people, make yourself seen, make yourself heard of, to keep that momentum going. And it's working, because your reviews are just phenomenal.
I have some really wonderful ARC readers and beta readers, and I'm so glad to have them involved. It makes all the difference when you release with reviews for people who genuinely like the product, and they are able to express it in a way that other people can get it. They understand why they should also read it, and so I'm really grateful to those people.
Do you know, it's amazing, isn't it? I don't think our beta readers and test readers realize how valuable and important they are to us, not only for our books and everything else, but to us.
Absolutely.
They're so appreciated, and I'm like you. I'm always saying, "Oh, thank you so much," because I genuinely mean it. Because that support is just golden.
Yeah, I never hold back. I let them know they're doing me a favor by reading my book, not the other way around.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. There's one little tip I will say for our new authors out there. When you are looking for beta readers and test readers, don't give out your copies until it's as perfect as possible. And I say that because otherwise you will get the odd one or two, if not more, who will do a review straight on Goodreads or Amazon and start talking about your errors that you haven't got to yet. So always make sure your book is as perfect as you possibly can get it before you send it out to you.
Well, definitely for ARC readers. Beta readers, it depends on your level of trust with them, because some beta readers can give you incredible advice, and you don't want to wait until you're completely done with the book to have them give you feedback. But ARC readers, absolutely, you will hear about all the errors that slip through, any editing or anything else. which is actually a good thing. I went through 2 editors for different things on this book, and I still found typos and things. And even beyond, once I recorded the audiobook, which is the best possible way to look for errors, they still found a couple of things that I was able to change. So thank God for ARC readers. They really, really do help.
They do. They really do save your bacon. But you know what? I always read my manuscripts. When I'm editing, I actually read it out loud. Because you're right, it's amazing what you find. But even sometimes it's just a case of moving, you know, your comma over just to make that section sound more dramatic, or, you know, less dramatic, you know, or a bit softer and a little bit smoother. You know, sometimes it's not until you read it out loud that you realize this needs to change a little bit.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
The right effect. It's amazing, isn't it? Is there any tips or advice? I mean, obviously you've learned so much since you went down the self-publishing path. Is there anything that you would really emphasize that you've learned that is super important for other authors to know?
I think for everything that I do, you have to allow yourself the room to make mistakes. You have to let your first draft suck. Because for everything, I'm talking about the audiobook or the book that you're writing, or your first attempt at making an ad, you know, it all has to be able to suck, because you can't fix it unless something exists. And if you don't let yourself do something, I tell this to my game design students all the time. It's actually an anecdote that I usually tell, where there's a producer who comes into a musical, and all the dancers and musicians are just standing around, and the choreographer is just sitting there with his head in his hands, and the producer comes up and says, "What's going on? We're losing money. Nobody's doing anything." And he said, "I lost my camera."
You're fine. Don't worry. Right there, folks.
I gestured too much. That's what happens when I get in teaching mode. All right.
There we go.
Yeah, woo! I was scared because it fell behind the desk, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it back. Anyway, he says, "What's going on?" And the choreographer says, "I don't know what to do." And he said, "Well, do something so we can change it." And that's exactly the way you have to look at everything. It's like, it's okay. Make it suck. You know, as long as you get something on paper, because you're going to look at it and you're going to go, that's not right. And then you're going to figure out where it needs to evolve to.
Exactly.
I think Neil Gaiman said your first draft is your outline, effectively. Your second draft is what your first draft should have been once you understand what the story is. And then your third draft is what you can actually start showing to people.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with that, because at the end of the day, I think too many writers overthink everything rather than just do it. And you're right, until you do it, you can't figure out which direction it needs to go. And 9 times out of 10, our characters tell us where it needs to go once we put their voice on paper.
That's exactly right. I always have an outline. I'm not a pantser. I can't just write from nothing. But I use the outline as like a map, and I'm giving my map to my characters. I'm saying, follow this map, please. And sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they go, no, I want to go over there.
Yeah, when they say, no, that's not right. This is really what needs to happen. I'm like, I guess you're right.
It's amazing, isn't it, how imaginary people know better than we do.
Yeah, they're living it. We're just along for the ride.
Exactly. It's part of being a writer. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh, there we go. Sherry says you are an awesome giver. Oh, so she's blown away by all your offers for our viewers. Sherry says, I can definitely hear your passion. I love my books and I cherish them, as we all should. Definitely. Oh, there we go. Proves we're live. That's true, James. That is so true. There we go. I tell you, anything goes on the Witty Writers. I love it. Joe says, stop daydreaming.
I think he meant day drinking, and I think he needs to stop day drinking because otherwise he could have typed that right.
That is, oh my god, it is so funny. And Teresa says, my characters never do as they're told. I have the same problem, Terza. I really, really do.
Well, it's a really good example of a character kind of having a life of his own, and that is I wrote Child of Chaos, and there was a character in there named Dantess, Priest of War, and he told me he needed his own book. And that's one of the reasons that I did Game of War. I mean, I knew there was a lot more to him than what he was showing me, because he's a Priest of War, and Priest of War, why is he interacting with the Child of Chaos? Why is he helping him? That doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, priests are by definition, drawn to order. They're driven by rules, and so why is he doing this? I needed to understand that before I went on to the sequel, and so I went deep into his background and pretty much explained that. And what I made, a lot of the thinking that I was doing about the sequel got put into the Game of War, the prequel. And so the sequel ends up actually kind of being a sequel to the Game of War as much as it is a sequel to Child of Chaos. So even though it's a standalone, and what's nice is both of those books are entry points into the universe. You can read either one of them in any order, and that's fine. But both are required reading for going into book 2. So do it at your leisure, but read them both.
I think that's absolutely amazing. I really, really do. Before time's nearly running out. Can we see the new covers again?
Yes, absolutely.
Stunning. I absolutely love them. Look at that.
So this is the Child of Chaos.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah, I love the little dice as the divider there.
I love little touches like that, and I know I'm not the only one because there's a huge following on just book covers.
Yeah,
and people love it.
And this is the Game of War. And we have that little shield, and actually the shield, I was so happy with that I used it inside as well for the section dividers. So
that is nice. See, that's a nice touch. That really, really is. I love books that have little touches like that. It just makes them feel extra special. It does. It really, really does. Terza says the books come out much better for the insubordination, though. So I cannot be upset with them for so long.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
She forgives her characters for their cheekiness, which is
one of the things I learned about game development is you have to leave room for discovery. Always, because you never know exactly what's going to be fun until you're playing it, and so things come out of development that you never expected. The same is true for writing. Something's going to happen, something's going to occur to you, maybe even be a joke that occurs to you that changes the whole layout of your story. I've had to, in both books, I had to rewrite the beginning like 3 times because I learned more about what was going on, and that influenced what had to happen before.
Oh my gosh, I have so been there. I really, really have. Because you're right, as your characters develop, and then all of a sudden they tell you, well, actually, I'm like this. Or actually, I have this trait. And you're thinking to yourself, where on earth did that come from? And you're right, then you have to go back and you have to show little hints of that character and traits, so it builds up to it. And there's a lot of backwards and forth, and you're going all over the place. But it is so worth it, and your books are just gorgeous. They absolutely are gorgeous. So just to let everybody know, there is an ebook giveaway at the moment on Amazon for the Child of Chaos. So you can download that for free.
Only on launch day, starting launch day on 8/29.
Yeah, and it's so it's not for very long. So you need to grab that quick. And if you want signed copies, etc., you can do that through Glen's website. And I'm sure I've got the link on there as well. Also, you can get a 15% discount with the discount code Witty Writers. So all of these offers are on. You're like, I'm in my element right now. I'm like, this is like a right party. So make sure you go to Glen's website and everything and Amazon to get all these deals. And as I said, if you want signed copies, now's the time to do it. They make amazing gifts and you get a discount too. It's like a win-win-win all over. Glen, you are so awesome. I have so enjoyed today. I'm so glad that I'm intact today.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
For those of you who don't know, the first time I was supposed to interview Glen, I decided to go and break my ankle on the day. literally. And you was my first port of call. I was ringing Glen as I'm telling my daughter to go and find crutches and ice and stuff like that. And
I was the one letting everybody else know
you
about your state.
You was my phone tree.
I was your phone tree.
You were absolutely amazing, Glen, honestly. And I'm so excited to just see you keep going up and up and up in your journey. It's just absolutely amazing. But thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you will come back and join me when the next one comes out.
Absolutely. I always have a blast here.
It is awesome. It is awesome. And we'll have another party because I quite like these parties. They're quite good fun. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget to join us next week. We've got more interviews coming. We've also got Mark Gottlieb, who's coming back on the show on the 2nd of September to talk about what we should be doing while we're writing our books. And I've got some exciting news, Glen, because the chairman, Robert Gottlieb of Trident Media, has asked to come on the show. So we've got Robert coming on as well. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm really excited. So keep posted, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, please share Glen's interview and you will win something nice for next week. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Glen. And we'll see you next time for the Witty Writer Show.
Bye-bye. Thanks very much.
Bye.